Hi. Hope y'all are doing good today. I'm smoking the last of my Capstan Blue. I think I have one more 10 in storage. Between what's in my pipe and this here, that's a wrap. Pretty sure the 10 I have stored is only got like a year of age on it. So, I was wrong, by the way. This Capstan Blue is actually almost 3 years old, not 2. So I lied to you during my review of it. It showed up with age already in the 10, and then I put some age on it. Anyways. So I've been looking, more into pipe crafting, pipe making, and I wound up on some forums last night. Just looking at the recommendations for all the tools you'll need, the lathe, the French wheel, the belt sander. There's a lot you need. That doesn't even count the dies and the tools you'll need for the lathe and the hand tools, and there's so many different ways to go about it. And yeah, you can make them by hand, but it's just not recommended unless you want tinnitus and you just don't care about how long it takes to get a pipe done. And yes, I've seen them on YouTube. People can do them relatively quickly by hand, but I don't know. It's not recommended. It's not recommended. As a matter of fact, I'll even go so far as to tell you that, and I don't know crap about lathes. I mean, I've seen them. I know what they do. I don't know how to work them. I don't know the terminology. Even behind pipe making, I don't know terminology. I forgot the majority of the anatomy of my pipe. Shank, I think, stem, heel down there at the bottom. There's different terminology I've been hearing lately, and it's not registering to long-term memory. So I have a lot to learn. Anyways, so they say you need to at least, really, if you want to get stuff done, you at least need like a drill press, the French wheel, the belt sander, and either a wood lathe or a metal lathe. People typically recommend the metal lathe. However, a lot of people have a background working with a wood lathe, which you can fetch brand new for a far more affordable price, by the way. A lot of people have woodworking experience and they've worked on lathes, and it just makes more sense for them to create pipes on the wood lathe and any other. So machine lathes, metal lathes are more accurate when it comes to doing stems and drilling certain things out. The downside to the wood lathe is it's not as precise. However, like for instance, Beans cut his teeth making pipes on a wood lathe. Now I'm getting this information on a 4-year or 5-year-old video of his. I'd love to see him upload. It takes a lot of time though. The problem with uploading pipe videos, that's an unbelievable amount of setting up, hitting record, doing something, stopping the video, moving the tripod, hitting record again. So I'm not expecting him to do another one anytime soon. But if for whatever small chance you're watching this video, Beans, I would love to see your most recent process, and it may have not changed at all, on kind of the steps you go through on making pipes. Because I love his pipes, and there's a lot of amazing pipes, exotic pipes, stuff that I would not even want to take to work with me, because I feel like if I were to ever blemish it, I'd hate myself. All kinds of amazing pipes, and I like them all. The thing is, Beans uses a wood lathe. Now, he went and acquired a metal lathe, and from what he told me in this video, and he was talking to me. I don't know why I said it that way. He's tried the machine lathe, but he said it's just like so much slower of a process for him to get anything done on it, because he's so damn familiar with the wood lathe, and he likes the wood lathe because he likes the hand-on technique. Now, like on a machine lathe, on a metal lathe, whatever, you're going to use wheels to stroke in and out your cutting tools and your dies. I think this is the difference. I honestly I barely started researching this. On a wood lathe, you handhold your cutting tools, resting them up against a stop, and you shape your wood. So Beans likes that. Obviously, people that have, I was reading a guy on a forum, on this pipe making forum. He's like, I got 20 years experience on a wood lathe. So I personally, I don't touch I do have a metal lathe, but I only use it for certain things, and I can get it all done on the wood lathe, yada, yada, yada. For someone like me coming in fresh, I don't know. A lot of people use both the wood lathe and the metal lathe. So, I don't know. It's super fun. There's no way I can do any of this. You need a garage. But I do believe I'll be in a situation at some point where I will be able to do it. And I do think I will undertake. It's a real challenge. And the problem with pipe making is, if you really want to see if you like it, there's an awful amount of tools you're going to need to give yourself the opportunity to try to do it right. You can buy tiny bench lathes and tiny bench crap that will just give you a massive, giant headache. From what I'm understanding on these forums, it's a massive, giant headache. Only to spend $2,000 to realize, wow, I really need a bigger lathe. So a lot of people run into that problem. And what they do is they end up cutting their teeth with inferior equipment, or the wrong tool for the job, so to speak. And then they eventually go and get, a far bigger lathe, or they move off the wood lathe into a machine lathe, or they incorporate both, whatever the case may be. But I was looking at Precision Matthew full-size lathes at like $7,000 on YouTube, and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, yeah, I have no idea how to function that thing. It doesn't look super complex. It's gears. It rotates, but there's maintenance you're going to need to, you got to learn to know how to take care of this thing. So, huge challenge, and a high potential for people getting scared away and burn out. But some of the best advice on this forum was, this one guy was like, someone made a post, some noob like me was like, hey, I'm interested in pipe making, and I just want to know what you think. How should I approach it? What tools do I need? Yada yada. And one of these veterans, kind of seasoned pipe makers, came in, and he was like, I'm going to tell you what I tell everybody. Go take $400 and flush it down the toilet and go buy you a Castello. Now, at this point, you're up to $800. You just spent $800 and you have a pretty good pipe. That's way easier and way more affordable than the concept of getting into pipe making. And he went on from there, but he made some really good points. And he's like, I'm not trying to scare you away. I'm just telling you, it's not easy. It takes time. There's a very broad learning curve. You're going to need to spend a lot of money. You have to mess up on everything to get decent at everything. Anyways, I like the idea of it. Obviously, I can't do that in my given situation, but I don't know. I think I'd probably just buy a wood lathe, cut my teeth on that. Being that a lot of guys incorporate both a machine lathe or a metal lathe. I keep saying machine lathes. They're both machines. Being that a lot of people will incorporate both anyways, I would just get the damn wood lathe, because I think I'd make other little things on the wood lathe, like little bowls and tiny little things to put stuff into, because I like trinkets like that. And so it was an interesting experience reading up on all this, and I have a far more realistic perspective on what's required, and it is a massive undertaking. So pretty much anyone turning pipes who's making pipes, kudos to them. You have to love it, because it's, they're not just spitting these pipes out, guys. I understand that they may have a lot of inventory, but even if you're gifted and maybe you have a background in it, like, it really takes, you got to love it, because it really does take, from what I'm reading, takes real dedication to do this, and to do it well is it's a real achievement. That's my point. I would like to comment real quick on my little grumble video I made. I told myself I wanted to start making more content, and the problem with me is I always wait for the most opportune, convenient time to make content. And I really find that even waiting for the most opportune time, not always, but often, when I do get around to making content, it's still not opportune. I'm either tired, or there's something going on, or I feel like I'm in a rush. So I'm just trashing that idea, and I'm just going to try. I'm not saying I'm going to always make a lot of content. I'm just saying I'm just going to start trying to get more comfortable with the idea of just off-cuff making content wherever I'm at, who cares, and just going that route. Well, I did that with my little grumble video, and I don't feel that I really did a very good job necessarily, especially at the end, tying in what I was trying to express. And all I was simply trying to express is that the Christian walk is hard. There are seasons of joy and peace, yes. But some of us are not in those seasons. Some of us are in seasons of pressure and pain. And that is most certainly a part of the Christian walk. And I don't want my brothers and sisters in Christ to find themselves kind of new, fresh to the table of God's table, and feeling like they're doing something wrong, or that they're not saved, or they're not good enough, if they find that an awful lot of it is painful, because that is a huge part of it. God has to rip the worldly programming from you. You have to surrender your ego. Very easy to say, not easy to do. And we're like layers of onions. God has to pull off layers of our ego a little at a time. And it's our fear that keeps us, what I'll say, me statements. For me, it's always my fear of XYZ that keeps God we disallow God to intervene in our lives, because we simply will not surrender. And the process and refinement through that process of sanctification, it can be a very painful process. And the pain is that you're handing over all aspects of yourself to God. Anyways, see, even now I thought I was going to say it better than that. And I'm like, was that even what I was trying to say? Really? It's not always the easiest for me to get on here and express myself. But I just think there are some good spiritual mentors and some bad spiritual mentors. And I don't mean that in the way that we all need a spiritual mentor. I'm just talking about brothers and sisters in the body of Christ that can kind of direct you and help you understand what you're hitting into and what to expect kind of mentorship. And there's very good mentors and maybe some that I would not consider to be very good mentors. And I will say that often it's more the intellectual, theological, scholarly types that can really dismay a new Christian or someone new to the faith, and scare them away. And I just want you to know that I have fought God tooth and nail, kicking and screaming, with some of the greatest things He's ever done in my life. I was resistant. I was a pain in the ass. I was a horrible student. I didn't listen. We are not equipped to direct our lives. And the fact is, it's usually always fear-based. It's surrendering and handing over the direction of your life and who you are, your thoughts, to God. And you'll clutch. The ego clutches. And you don't even realize you're doing it when you're doing it. And but the fact is that we were never meant to have anything figured out. He holds all the keys. He has all the answers. Unfortunately, the world is training you to survive and teaching you how to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and God's actually contradicting all that and saying, I turn all that on its head, my friend. I'm the one that has all the answers. I'm not saying you abandon common sense. God gave you a body. You need to eat. You need to be good to your temple. We have to go to work. We have to provide for ourselves. There's nothing wrong with planning or being organized. I'm not talking about that. God gave you a brain, use it. I'm talking about handing over your life direction to God. Handing over your bad habits to God. Abandoning the things in your life that He doesn't want there. And relying on Him to breathe into you and instill the grace and the courage and all those little things that may be necessary for whatever given task at hand God's dealing with inside your heart on a personal level. And my message, all I was trying to say in that whole grumble ramble video, and I'm amazed at the fact that a lot of you even watch my videos. I'm just being honest with you. That is a huge compliment. And I'm no teacher or anything. I just speak from my own experience, and I'm convicted about the things that I say, but sometimes I don't know how to say them. But I've seen a lot of Christians come into the faith or come into the church, have an introduction to God, and they know God because God usually introduces Himself with, "This is who I am," and He will flood you with love and mercy. And so people get that, and then they go to the church, and some asshat is scaring the bejesus out of them, telling them that now you're supposed to walk like this, talk like this, and look like that. Well, hell, no, you're not. You're just not. God's going to deal with us individually. I don't care if you're stupid. I don't care if you're a genius. I don't care if you're good looking. I don't care if you're ugly, black, white, yellow. I don't give a shit who you are. If you're getting close to God, He will open your eyes to your betrayal, your sin life, your hypocrisy, your fear, and you will have to surrender like we all do. You will have to surrender. It is a process. The sanctification process can be very painful, and you can be in a season of joy, but do not forget that that is a season. It is just a season. In my past, I remember coming into seasons of rest and joy, and like I was dumb enough to be, oh, all right, I've arrived. I'm gonna live on this mountain the rest of my life. Oh really? Oh really? Is that what you think? Is that what you think? You're gonna live on this mountain the rest of your life? You're gonna be happy? You're gonna be playing your banjo? You're gonna be bouncing your knee? Oh boy. No, usually God's just giving you rest for the next hard season. Well, I had another crack at it. I don't know that I actually said what I came to say, but I said what I had to say. I tried. Anyways, I'd like to see Beans make another video. Give me a shop tour. Tell me what kind of machine tools you have. Okay? Tell me what's important. And then by the time I'm ready to do this, I'll probably just be asking you to make a new updated video because a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 or 10 have passed. But that's okay. In the meantime, it's good to compare. I want to know what Beans is doing because I own some of his pipes and I like them. So it's like, oh, look, I'm holding this and he made it with that. Okay, cool. And then I go and make one and it looks like a big giant turd. And I'm like, well, that must be on me. Alrighty, that's enough ramble for the day. You all have a great day, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.